If one says to a woman, "You are betrothed to me on condition that I will give you 200 dues," she is betrothed, and he gives it. On condition that I will give it to you from now until 30 days. If they gave it to her within 30 days, she is betrothed. If not, she is not betrothed. If he says, on condition that I have 200 dues, she is betrothed, provided he has it. On condition that I will show you 200 dues, and she is betrothed, provided he shows it to her. If he shows it to her on her table, she is not betrothed. If he said, on condition that I have a base core of land, she is betrothed, provided that he has it. On condition that I have it in a specific place, if he had it in that place, she is betrothed. If not, she is not betrothed. On condition that I will show you that a base core of land, she is betrothed, provided he will show it to her. If he showed it to her in a valley, she is not betrothed. Reb Meir says any condition which is not like, because otherwise, that's wrong. Because the condition of the children of God and the children of Reuben is not a condition as it says. And Moshe said to them, if the condition of God and the children of Reuben will be crossed, it was written but if they will not cross zealously. Rabbi Hanania ben Hamil says it was necessary for the matter to be stated because otherwise it is implicit that even in the land of Canaan they shall not inherit. I think this is you now, right?
Yep, that's correct. Okay, Hamakadesh is Isha. So first of all, he marries a woman. And then he comes back to the Beis Din and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! This was done under false pretenses. Kasavur hayisi shehi kohenes. I thought she was the daughter of a kohen, the harehi Leviah, but she's actually a daughter of a Levi. Leviah the harehi kohenes, or vice versa. Ania, I thought she was poor of a harehi Ashira. I thought she was rich. I thought she was poor. She's actually rich, or vice versa. Ashira the harehi Ania." Okay, so he's coming and saying, no, I didn't realize this. I thought it was the other way around. Hooray, Zot Mekudeshes. This does not break the original Kiddushin. Mipnei shelo hitatu. He didn't ask her. If he'd asked her and she said, "Oh, I'm the daughter of a Kohen," and it turns out she's the daughter of a Levi, then she misled him. Then it's a Kiddushin under false pretenses. But he can't come up and say, "Oh, I thought," and say that it's false pretenses if she never misled him. Ha'omer la'isha. It's it kind of and in these cases, these are not grounds for making her lose her kasuba. Of course, he can divorce her if he wants to, but he's got to pay out the kasuba. This is distinct from finding out that she's got nadarim on her. Nadarim is something that okay, that husband that's not cool to have nadar. We don't like nadarim. Even though we have got a whole Masechta of Nadarim and there's Nadarim in the Torah, but in general, we just don't like Nadarim. And if a woman's taken Nadarim on herself, that's grounds for her losing her Kasuba. Okay. Ha'omer le'isha, hare at mekudeshes li le'acha she'eskayer. Now, here's an interesting situation. He's not Jewish yet, but he's on his way to the mikveh. He says, and he gives the woman a ring. You're going and says, "You're going to be my wife as soon as and this will be effective as soon as I've been to the mikveh." Comes out the mikveh, didn't work. Okay, we're going to see all the list of these things, and the common thread between all of them, as we will see, is that if your kiddushin cannot be effective now, then it's not effective after your condition either. Okay, so he's now a goy. He has no kiddushin on a Jewish woman. Same thing goes in the reverse direction. If he's Jewish and she's not, and he tries to be Makadesh her before she goes to mikveh, doesn't work. And the same thing goes for slaves. After I'm freed, or after you, the woman, are freed. All right, there's no kiddushin between a Jewish person and an Eved Knani. Okay, there's just no such thing as kiddushin. It doesn't work. Oh, so there's a woman whose husband is on his deathbed, and somebody comes and wants to make a kiddushin on her on condition that that will be effective when her husband dies. No, if you try and do a kiddushin on a married woman, it just doesn't work. So this also won't work after time. Or la'achar shetamus achotich, or after your sister dies. This being a case where he was previously married to her sister, and now he wants to marry her. And again, Kiddushin is just not effective in this situation. If it's an Ereva, there's no Kiddushin. Now, this is an interesting case. After she's a Yavama, and she's waiting for chalitza, and another guy comes and says this kiddushin will be effective after your chalitza. Now that's actually an interesting case. The Mishnah says Eina Mekudeshes, but that's only because it's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva who says that there's no kiddushin by Shomeres Yavam. But for everyone else, we look at this and say, no, actually, it's just a stam love that she's not allowed to marry again. It's kind of like this falls into the category of Kohen and a Grusha, where there is kiddushin, but it's not allowed.
Right.
Okay, so everyone else would say, well, actually, this would work. This one would work because he could be Mekadesh her right now if he wanted to. It would be not allowed, but the Kiddushin would be effective. So this last case of the Shomeres Yavam to be effective after Chalitza would actually work according to halacha. V'chein ha'omer lechavero. Also, somebody says to his friend, Im yalda ishtecha nakeva harei hi mekudeshes li. Right, he says he decides he wants to get in early and marry into his friend's family and says, listen, if your wife gives birth to a girl, then she's going to be my wife, and and she gives birth to a girl. Nope, there's no kiddushin. You can't do a kiddushin on a child that hasn't yet been born. But im haisa eshes chavera meuberes v'hu kar ubara. Now, if she's already showing the baby bump, and you can see that there's a baby inside there. Now, devarav kayamin. This imi alda nekeva mekudeshes. So, a father has the right to marry off his minor daughter. So this is so he can accept that kiddushin, and even if his wife is just pregnant and visibly pregnant, and it turns out that it's a girl, then it turns out that this would actually work. We don't encourage people to get married that young. Anyway, but technically it's possible. All right. Ha'omer le'isha. Hareat mekudeshes li al menas she'adaber alayich lashilton. Okay, more in conditional marriages. Okay, he says, I'm gonna have a good word for you, put in a good word for you with the government. Or he says, I'll work for you as a laborer. Now, why are these conditions being discussed? What's different about these things is that these things are potentially things that she's not going to be satisfied with the quality of his work. He wasn't effective getting the government to let her off the fine, or he wasn't he worked for her, but he was a lousy worker and didn't do good work. Nonetheless, דיבר עליה לשלטון ועשה עמה כפועל מקודשת. ואם לאו אינה מקודשת. If he actually did what he said, even if he didn't do it as well as she expected, nonetheless, the Kiddushin is effective. Al manash yirtze abba, if he says, look, this Kiddushin over here is conditional on my father's approval within the next 30 days. That's implicit over here, is that it can't be that they're going to live their entire lives and 5 years down the line, the father's going to say, I'm sorry, I don't approve anymore. Now, it's got to be that my father doesn't state any objections within the next 30 days. Ratza av Mekadesh. So if the father didn't object, or if he explicitly said no, I approve, then of course the kiddushin is effective. Im lav eina Mekadesh. If he objects, then she's not Mekadesh. These things are obvious, but here comes the interesting part. Meis ha'av. What happens if the father dies? Harei zo Mekadesh. Now, if the father dies now, then okay, he can't object anymore. Therefore, if there's no objection, then she's married. What happens if the son dies, the husband? Mesa Ben, now she presumably is now going to be a Yavama, and we want to try and release her from that. So we tell the father, listen, say you object, and then she's off the hook. She was never married. Okay. Mishna Zayin, Kiddashti es biti v'eini yodeh lemi kiddashtiha. Oi vay. Father is a bit of an airhead, and he accepts kiddushin from somebody for his minor daughter, and now he's forgotten who he accepted the kiddushin from. Okay, uba echad v'amar, and so one guy comes up and says, I don't you remember? It was me. Ani Kiddushin. Okay, never mind. So we say that fine. This is the guy. He's allowed to live with her. We're not worried that it was somebody else who actually did the Kiddushin. Only one, we know that somebody did it, and he's the only one coming and claiming it. So therefore, he's believed. Uh, Ze amar ani kiddashtiha, v'ze amar ani kiddashtiha. Now we have competition. Two guys come and say, no, I was the one who did the Kiddushin. Shnehem nosnim get. Well, one of them is obviously lying, so we force both of them to give a get, unless they decide to compromise. Imratzu echad nosin get ve'echad kones. One says, "Listen, I'm prepared to waive my rights over here. You can marry her, so he can divorce her, and the other one will marry her, and that's fine." Okay, yeah, I'm afraid that's where we're going to have to end because we're out of time.
Sorry, I just
No
couldn't.
worries, no worries. Catch up on the Chazaras yourself.
Yes. I'll
Okay,
see you tomorrow, Mr. Shem.
Mir Hashem.
Thank you. Bye.